Someone just asked me how to successfully bet tennis. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that it's very simple. You fade the French. You fade the French 24 hours a day, twice on Sunday. Fade the French. Got the weakest mental game I've ever fucking seen across platform, across all professional sports. I don't know what the fuck it is with that country. But that whole little fucking stigma that they have that the French can't win a war without assistance, whatever fucking hazy malaise is hovering over French culture has 100% permeated into its fucking athletes because these motherfuckers are helpless when they dig themselves a hole. I've never seen anything like it. Let me tell you something. There's a player, one of the most mercurial figures in all of professional sports. This guy is a trip. Most of you probably don't even know who he is. But let's do a little quick polemic on this motherfucker, Benoit Paire. All right? Go Google this motherfucker. Fascinating figure. This dude's he's pocketed over $12 million playing professional tennis. Has all the natural talent in the world, all the gifts. Dude's tall. He hits fucking rockets on serve. Super talented motherfucker, right? Can show up on any given day. And if he really wants to, he could beat anybody. He could beat anybody. He's an older guy now, but he could still turn the Jets on if he wanted to and fucking crush anybody on tour. He's got that level of game. So this guy has pocketed 12 milli, all right? And let's tie this in. I've told you guys over and over again that you can never outperform your self-image, okay? This guy is a classic example of not outperforming your self-image. This guy has some deep-seated mental illness that has not been addressed. Some very strange sadomasochistic self-hatred tendencies that go on full exhibition during these matches. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was playing with the best of the best. Now, at his career, he's been relegated to these low-level entry tournaments. All right? You're talking about a guy who used to play for millions of dollars. Now he flies around the world, all over, from the North Pole to the South Pole, and he shows up to these shit tier tournaments that, no joke, pay like 5 grand. It just boggles your mind. And he shows up and he gets beat, he gets his ass whooped by children, by kids, like literal college players are sending this guy packing. And you're sitting there and you're just like, how the fuck is this guy still playing tennis? He's a fucking human punching bag. He's a fucking human tomato can. He stands at the other end of the court, and I'm not joking. Some of the points that he misses now, if you plugged in an electric fan on one end of the court and turned it on high, it would return the ball better than this guy. He's become a complete fucking caricature of himself. Relegated to the lowest level tournaments on earth. And the only time I've ever seen this guy actually play well was when he's dating some like brand new French model and she's sitting courtside. That's it. Like the dude will tear through girlfriends and he'll bring a new girl that he's dating. And if she's sitting courtside, you bet the farm on this motherfucker because he's there to show off and he gives the best performance of his life. But if there's no woman present, the guy is literally acting out. He's method acting this very bizarre self-hatred, masochistic pattern. I mean, the explosiveness on court, the behavior, the body language. The guy fucking breaks rackets over his knee. He throws rackets across the court. I've seen him hit himself in the face. Just absolute bizarre meltdowns on tour, professional tennis. And he just continually does it. He'll fly to Australia, get whooped. Then he'll fly to fucking Thailand, get annihilated. And he just keeps coming for more. Let me tell you something. It's the equivalent of a guy like Odell Beckham showing up to a middle school county fair track race and literally letting third graders beat him. It's a fucking humiliation ritual. It's a fucking humiliation ritual. And what you're seeing is you're seeing the regression that I've always talked about. The guy thinks he's a total piece of shit deep down. And so now, when he shows up to these events, the crowd fucking hates this guy because the matches are boring. He doesn't fucking do anything. He doesn't try. He quits halfway. He'll be up 40-0 on serve and let you torch him. He's just there to be a fucking laughing stock. He's there to feed off the hatred of the crowd because they're always fucking heckling him and jeering at him and shit. And then when he packs up his racket and he goes home, he has these demons on court in his head, and he uses this to foster this like pseudo self-destructive cycle. The guy's life is a total fucking mess. Total fucking mess. But for all intents and purposes, he's an aristocrat. He's got that royal blood. You can tell by his genetics and his bankroll. He's an aristocrat. But he's like one of these rat fink Cassius motherfuckers. That motherfucker from Gladiator, the pussy who stands in the Coliseum and puts his thumb up or thumb down. He's one of these guys. Doesn't lead from the front. Just a massive fucking pussy. So always fade the French in tennis. There's some guys that are, a little bit more ironclad, obviously, but as a general rule of thumb, Frenchmen are mental midgets when it comes to the game of tennis. Let's talk about worry for a second. Blows my mind at some of the shit that you guys fucking worry about. Blows my mind. I can't even listen to it anymore. Some of the concerns that are brought to me in my DMs, even just in daily life, the shit that people fucking bitch about and complain about, boggles my fucking mind. Gotta be the single-handedly most loser fucking traits you can have on earth. Because it's unanimous. Every fucking creature on earth is aware that you are a warrior. A warrior should be fucking ashamed of yourself if you are destabilized and immobilized by worry constantly. Constantly worrying about things that never happen. Never. None of them ever happen. And you prepare your entire fucking life, you orient yourself towards dealing with future scenarios that never come down the pike. They just don't happen. They just don't happen. And you just sit there and you worry and you worry and you worry and you bite your little fingernails and you sit there and you worry. And then you get this real fucking coy, sort of callow fucking physiognomy because everyone just knows you're a fucking warrior. Girls don't want to talk to you. You walk into fucking restaurants, coffee shops, everyone fucking scatters like you have bubonic plague. No one wants to be around you. You are literally alienating yourself from the entire fucking world. Even the dumbest animals on earth know that you're a warrior. Like prey animals will become predators around a warrior. You know what I'm saying? Like an animal that's typically terrified of a human being, like a squirrel. I'm surprised some of you motherfuckers aren't getting bit with fucking rabid squirrels and getting rabies, frothing at the mouth, because prey animals even see a chance to fucking pounce on your ass when you're a little fucking warrior. Little fucking worry wart. Not in the arena. Can tell you that much. Can tell you that much. Because the motherfuckers who really should be worrying never worry. Ain't that funny? Ain't it funny how the motherfuckers who should be crying fountains of tears who legitimately, functionally have a reason to break down and cry like a bitch, never do. Never do. It's one of the most interesting facets of manhood, is as manhood, the guy who deserves to express the emotion the most never does. Never does. It goes back to one of my favorite maxims. One of my favorite maxims is he who suffers least complains the most. That's a fucking good one. He who suffers least complains the most. Ain't that the fucking truth? Because the motherfuckers walking around with real problems, real challenges, they don't have time. They don't have time to sit there in that morbid fucking victimized state. There's no time for it. So you just got ample time on your hands. You have no real problems. So now you got to pretend that there's a civil war coming because you're broke. You got no women. You got no kids. You got no fucking familial piety, no familiar infrastructure. So now you got to start playing fantasy games in your head about all the fucking chaos in the world that's going to fucking take you to your knees in 2 years. And guess what that is, my friend? That war that you keep thinking's coming, the Civil War, because I've seen some of you motherfuckers. You guys have been predicting fucking Civil War for like 10 years now. Where is it? I haven't seen it yet. But some of you motherfuckers are like rucking up mountains and shit and fucking hitting the gun range every day because fucking the Civil War reenactment's on its way. But it never comes. And I know what you're doing. I know the cute little games that you're playing with yourself. I know it. You know it. We all know it. But no one wants to call it for what it is. You're using the impending doom that's not coming as an excuse to do nothing. Why would you build a business? Why would you better yourself financially? Why would you have a relationship with a woman? If in 2 years the country's going to collapse and supply chains are going to get clogged and it's going to be fucking mayhem and carnage in the streets, why should you go to the gym? Why should you eat healthy? Why should you fucking take care of yourself? Right? There you go. Now you can fucking hang your hat on that little fucking cute, crafty excuse year after year. Why are you broke? Oh, I'm broke because I'm just spending all my time. I gotta prepare. The fucking Civil War's coming. Civil War's coming. Fucking the fiber of America is breaking down before our very eyes. I can't get a job because then I won't be prepared. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. I have zero fucking patience for men who worry. Let women worry. Let them worry. It's your job as a man. Quell their worries. You know what I'm saying? You got a good girl by your side. She's worried about everything. Quell her concerns. But as a man, don't you fucking dare sit there and fucking worry all fucking day about shit that's never fucking happened. You know there's a 99.9% chance it ain't gonna happen. And if it does happen, you'll deal with it when it does. Because all you've done is stop yourself from taking any kind of fucking action. So fucking clever. The body is amazing, the fucking cope and shit that it'll craft to fucking protect your ego from reality. To stop you from doing the things that you really should be doing. It's a nonstop fucking vicious cycle. I can't fucking stomach it whatsoever. I mean, doctors are the same way. Look, I've been through 2 pregnancies with women, and the whole thing's a fucking joke. These doctors, the system, they just want to fear monger you at every fucking step. You got to get a checkup every 3 weeks. You got to do an ultrasound every fucking 2 months. You got to come in. You got to get your bloods done. Get the fuck out of here. No, you don't. How about you let the fucking majestic body do what it does best? You know what I'm saying? Like, let the body do what it does. The body is pregnant, it's having a baby. Let it fucking do its magic. You don't need to be fucking poked, prodded, and pricked with fucking needles every fucking 2 months to make sure that everything's okay. Because all you're doing is instilling fear and anxiety and doubt and all this shit in the fucking woman's mind. That's all you're doing. You're not doing anything. You know what I mean? Like if you're a true leader as a man and your girl's pregnant, then it's your job to just make sure she's on a fucking great diet during gestation and prior to. And then you're not going to really have any problems. Shit's so fucking simple, but everyone wants to fucking jab himself full of fucking needles, make sure everything's okay, measure everything, quantify everything. Holy fuck. How about the peaceful realization as a man that maybe you're just not okay? Maybe you're never going to be okay. Take a fucking deep breath and sit on that one for a second. Maybe you're just not okay because maybe you have a restless, tormented spirit and you have to be the best, and maybe it's never going to be good enough for you. Embrace that. Embrace that part of the journey so that at least when you go in public, you're not scattering everybody out of the fucking room like you just sounded the fire alarm because it's fucking repulsive behavior. It's repulsive behavior. There's a reason why everyone uses the term cool, 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 to describe someone who has grace under fire. He's cool. It's where every motherfucker should be striving to be. And ain't it ironic that the guys with the worst of the worst problems aren't worrying about it? Because you know why? I'll tell you why. The winning mentality that wins 100 out of 100 times is understanding that everything is fucking malleable. Everything's liquid. Reality is so liquid. It can be alchemized at any moment. You might be failing right now. You might have made the biggest fuck up of your entire life, but you can fix it as a man. You can salvage anything. It's never over. So if you got the whole world betting against you, calling you a fuck up, turning their back on you, you can still fucking salvage it. You can prove everybody wrong. It's the best part about being a man. You can prove every motherfucker wrong in the end, as long as you don't give up. But worrying ain't gonna get you there. Worry is fucking preposterous. It's preposterous. I think they said this in the I Ching, one of those fucking ancient texts. They said, worry is preposterous because you never know enough to worry. You do not know enough to worry. You don't know what's in store in the future. You don't know what kind of opportunities are going to come your way. You don't know how you can turn things around. So I think they called it an act of hubris, an act of arrogance to sit there and worry. Like you're God and like you understand and you have the architect blueprints for everything that's going to occur around the corner. Fuck out of here. You don't. You don't. You're human. But reality is liquid. And so what is true at this very moment could not be true tomorrow, depending on how you can bend the situation. Do you understand? You can fail 100 times. And if you get the grand slam on the 100th swing, you're just a stubborn gangsta who never gave up. It's that simple. You literally rewrote history in real time and you changed the actual context of all the failures that precipitated the win. You understand? You strike out 99 times, but the 100th time, you absolutely crush it out of the park. You have completely redefined history in that moment. You have defragged the hard drive and you have utterly overwritten the code. And you have that ability and capability as a man. And it's all about branding because if you do that and you knock it out of the park on the 100th try, you're the stubborn genius, right? But if on the 100th try you strike out and you give up, you're a fucking loser. Reality is very fickle in that way. Very fickle. It's a very fine line. Very fine line. Take up a question. So I got to roll a cigarette.
Yep.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, I got a question from your last space,
Yeah.
and that is, you were talking about how tunnel vision isn't very good, but if you want to raise the floor initially, do you think like because you talked about raising the floor instead of raising the ceiling, do you think it's good to get in that mode of tunnel vision for just a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. You got to break in and out of it.
Yeah,
You got to change the emotional states a lot
yeah,
to succeed as a man. That's why the whole Kama Sutra fucking dopamine detox movements, that's why they don't work, because what they do is they keep you in a steady, even keeled state, and men don't operate well like that. You need the cataclysmic falls and you need the rises all in one day, because that's what moves the needle. That's what keeps you vital. That's what keeps you healthy.
yeah. Because
And
like I said, or like you said on Sneeko's stream the other day, you said life's a sprint, and that's kind of what I've been saying, or that's kind of how I felt for like the past few years now. It's like life's a hit workout, not necessarily a marathon. And because competition is so tough, like you need that tunnel vision initially just to where you can get on autopilot.
100%, yeah. But so it's paradoxical in the sense that masculinity is actually a very lazy energy. And a lot of guys don't understand this, but men are naturally wired to be relatively lazy creatures. Lions do the same shit. It's the females who hunt. I mean, there's a lot of examples, but the bottom line is if you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, constantly in like a frenetic energy, is what I want to call it. Frenetic. There's a huge difference between rushing and going fast. Okay. As a man, you want to go fast, but you don't want to rush.
Yes.
Rushing is that nervous, anxious energy, and it's also repulsive to everybody. It's ubiquitously repulsive. But men are relatively naturally lazy, and so the whole idea of the 8 hour workday, the 12 hour grind, that's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. You're only moving the needle maybe 1 or 2 hours out of those 12, and you can trick yourself any which way possible into thinking that you're actually putting in the work and grinding and out hustling everybody. But let me tell you something: the talented motherfucker, the talented non-theoretician, always smashes the theoretician. Always the artist. The guy who can bask and get the inspiration from the ether, and then as soon as he gets the vivid imagery, knows how to implement it into action. That guy's absolutely unstoppable in every realm, because he doesn't sit on the art that's in his head. He doesn't sit on his fantasies. He gets an idea, bang, he's already fucking materializing it right away. But you don't really get, you're lucky to have, this is what people don't understand about success. You're lucky as a man to have like 3 or 4 truly euphoric, joyful, happy days a year. You're lucky. You're very blessed if you get truly like 4 of them. And if you're constantly in a state of glee and joy and happiness as a man, something is really fucked up with the plumbing in your head. Like really, 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 really fucked up. Because again, fun is the vehicle you drive through hell with. And most of the time, especially if you're a very intelligent man, you're going to feel like you're toiling in some form of hell. One of the circles of Dante's Inferno, you're going to feel like you're toiling. There's like a feeling of like kind of helplessness and despair that very smart men go through on a daily basis. It's like this existential kind of dread, because there's only so many good ideas that you can really apprehend on a daily basis. And I think most guys are trying to kind of hack that system, and they're like, all right, how can I figure out how to constantly be generating the best ideas of my life and stay as avant-garde as possible 24 hours a day? It doesn't work, because that's not how it works. Epiphanies, revelations, these things are supposed to be very serendipitous. They're supposed to strike you when you least suspect them, just like every good opportunity in life, right? The best relationships on earth happen organically. You're living your life.
Yes.
You're living your life. You're running around town. You run into a woman. It's completely organic. It's not pre-orchestrated. There's no choreography. There's no slick one-liners. There's no slogans. It just happens completely and catches you off guard. Those relationships have staying power, and those relationships burn the brightest for the longest period of time. It's the ones that are crafted, pre-scripted, hunted. Those ones do not last very long. Life is like that. Life is like that. The best things that happen to you come when you least suspect it. And so that's why trying to like constantly fucking force everything and fit circles and square pegs is just an absolute recipe for disaster, and it's futile.
Yeah, but what would you say if you're in that tunnel vision mode and like things are working out? You just keep fucking sprinting.
Well, then you got to ride the run because
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
because that run is 100% gonna phase out on you. And
Yes.
that's what I'm talking about. Nobody sustains super high performance indefinitely. That's just not real. It's just not real. Slumps are real. Luck is real. People get into slumps because, like I said before, they get very, very nervous and agitated and anxious when things are going too well, and they freak the fuck out. And then they start standing in their own way because they're just like, no, there's no way life could be this good right now. And so they want to go backwards because they're afraid of the fall. They're afraid to come down from the high and the euphoria of just everything fucking clicking. So it's kind of like they want to shorten it. They want to shorten it and sabotage it in advance because they don't want it to happen to them. It's kind of like having an abandonment issue, quite frankly. It's almost like you're going to abandon the cause before it can abandon you. And this is what a lot of people are doing in their personal lives. A lot of people are walking away from opportunities and people before those people can walk away from them because they don't want to feel the pain. And that's a very, very pussy way to go through life. And you leave a lot on the table. That's why I've always said, as a man, the motherfucker who wears his heart on his sleeve is the winner in the end. You have to wear your heart on your sleeve. You know what I'm saying? I'm a byproduct of this. I wear my heart on my sleeve on my fucking Twitter. The shit I tweet about is very fucking personal to me. The things I desire in life are not a secret. I don't conceal the things that I want in life from anybody. I won't do it. I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. And so, as a man, as soon as you can start taking ownership for the things you really desire and start flexing them and sticking your chest out, you ain't going to get a goddamn thing in life. Life will just continually pummel you, pummel you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm somebody who has no problem failing publicly. I will
Yeah,
fail.
yeah,
I'll fail publicly a billion fucking times because in the end, I'm going to get mine. In the end, it's going to fucking happen. You know what I'm saying? And I will document that process publicly as well. I have
yeah.
no
No.
problem being in the hot seat with all eyes on me to perform. Zero fucking problem with it. In fact, I prefer it. I prefer it.
Yeah.
I'm the motherfucker who prefers to play a game on the road. I want to play in hostile territory where everyone's fucking cursing at me, telling me I can't make the shot, and I'm just sitting there torching fucking threes in your face. That shit feeds me. I don't need encouragement. I don't need it. I got enough of it within my own head. I prefer the hecklers. I always perform at the highest levels when that's happening.
Yeah.
You understand? That's just a switch, man. That's a fucking switch that if you have that, you are more than blessed.
Yeah. Like I'm an MMA fighter, and I actually agree with a lot of what you have to say about it. But there's like a lot of dudes out there that are like really fucking good, but they're just too scared to like get in there. But like you said in one of your spaces, it's like the glory goes to like the guys in there. So it's like even if you're not as good, you're getting all the fucking glory compared to the guys who are better but are just too scared to fucking risk the fucking embarrassment. So yeah, I completely understand.
Bang, bang. Yeah, then that embarrassment is powerful because it's a miniature death.
Yep.
You know what I mean? People talk about ego death, passive mind games. You could do that all fucking day till kingdom come. It's not going to do a goddamn thing for you. You know what? Really, you want to experience a real death while you're living, while you're still alive and breathing. Go get fucking embarrassed by taking on the largest endeavor you can take and fumbling it. That sheer embarrassment will kill off and slough off aspects of your personality that you don't want anymore. And it's the only natural way. It's like chemotherapy. It's like chemotherapy. It's applying radiation, hot radiation to all the parts of yourself that you don't like anymore. And you do that enough times and you become fucking superhuman, impervious to the pain, impervious to the embarrassment, and you can continue to walk forward with your chin out.
100%.
Bang, bang. Appreciate you. I'm going to keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Absolutely.
Yo, Forrester. Yo, I was talking to a little sidebar. I was talking to a very smart dude about bioenergetics on here. a guy that I'm actually doing a podcast with super soon. He's a super smart young guy, but we were talking about health, and this is just a total side tangent, but he was talking to me about my gray hair because I've been graying since I was like 19 years old, and he was like, "Look, there's a common pattern amongst very creative artist types where when your brain functions a certain way and you are constantly thinking in sort of abstract modes, you chew through copper because apparently having gray hair is like a copper deficiency." And so he's like, dude, you're just probably just fucking chewing through fucking copper from your lifestyle, the stress, whatever, the adrenaline. And then you know how I've always told you guys that metaphors are truer than reality. Metaphors always tell you what's really going on. It was interesting to me. There's a saying in America. It's a metaphor that when squatters or people were super fucking broke, they would break into the walls of their houses and they would strip the copper. Like as a last resort, when they were dirt fucking broke, they would have to go into the plumbing and strip the copper and sell it for shekels to survive. Ain't that funny that the body works the same fucking way with copper? The parallels between metaphors and reality are other fucking worldly. All right, we got this dude up here. What's his name? Oh, he dropped off. No, yeah, Forrester. I wanted to get you up here, buddy. Forrester.
Yeah,
Yo, yo.
my buddy's got a copper water bottle he drinks out of. You might want to look into that.
That's interesting. What are you trying to say? That it infuses the
I
water?
mean, it's got to on
By,
some like micro level.
yeah, by proxy. I mean, look, brother, I ain't trying to fix the gray. I don't give a fuck. I've been rocking it super hard since I was like 19. I'm just blessed to have a full, thick head of hair anyway. But I just thought that was interesting that certain lifestyles 100% chew through certain vitamins and minerals and shit that are essential.
Absolutely, especially when pushing it to the limit. Uh,
Exactly. And we all know I live at the fucking edge, so it's no surprise.
yeah, I'm
But that's
right there with you. So my question is, it's an odd one. So in 2018, an Israeli diamond billionaire fucking died during the fucking dick size surgery. So my question's about that. He was in his 50s. It's a
mhm.
notable because I mean, yeah, what advice would you give to a guy who's like slightly below average? Now, I've coped my way to success.
Buddy. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, brother. We ain't this ain't turning into Dr. Phil. You can save that for Dr. Phil or fucking Maury. That ain't fucking in Brute's wheelhouse. Appreciate you though.
Fair enough. Thanks, man.
Yo, Carava.
Yo, so I kind of want to backtrack to what you said about the Frenchman tennis player thing, and this kind of correlates to the previous guy's question.
Yeah.
What do you think is this mental block that these guys have? And is this like this guy still trying to live in the past, or is this a mental block of trying to find that inner drive past the humiliation, past the embarrassment to perform like you once were?
That's a good question. You got to amplify that last part though.
So I'm trying. How do I say this? The embarrassment and the humiliation that comes after taking uh huge amounts of losses. You kind of not see that
Yes.
anymore. You're kind of to that point where like the Frenchman guy, right? He doesn't care that he's taking a pay cut. He doesn't care that he's going against competition that is way below him, but he's still chasing after that result. Is this like them trying to stay in the past, or is this a way of looking at yourself as someone that can once perform like you once were?
No, dude, he's reinforcing the fucking self-hatred. It's a fascinating fucking mechanism. It's like it just goes to show you how thin this whole game is that men play. It's like you can be the best at your craft, but if you don't have the right self-imaging and you don't have the right self-talk and you have a very fucked up history that you just gloss over and pave over, the consequences are very alarming. I mean, this guy is actually a circus spectacle. He's a traveling circus, is what he is. He's no different than the thing in the bottle, than fucking, than that fucking werewolf dude who used to be fucking chained up in fucking 1850 stagecoach wagons. He's literally a fucking self-effacing spectacle. And that's what he's become, and that's what he likes. In other words, what I'm trying to say is there's some motherfuckers, kind of like the Joker, who just want to see the world burn. This guy truly is showing up to these matches and getting annihilated to reinforce. For him, it's like a superiority complex. The more people hate him, the better he feels. Some people genuinely want to be hated. They want to be despised because it makes them feel separate. Do you understand? It makes them feel separate and superior because they don't have any friends. Everyone's against them. So they wake up in the morning and they have a monster chip on their shoulder, and it allows them to rationalize and justify a lot of maladapted behaviors. I guarantee you this guy's relationships are a fucking nightmare. Total fucking nightmare. It wouldn't even surprise me if this guy is boozing in penthouse suites by himself, sobbing, watching fucking soap operas till 1 o'clock in the morning. Wouldn't surprise me when the mask comes off how genuinely dejected and demoralized this guy is. And it's fascinating to me because he just comes back for more punishment every time. He's like an ox. He's throwing the yoke over his mouth and he's like a beast of burden now. Very, very
So it's not
painful
really
to
about
watch.
the results for people like him, right? Because in the past, it was about results. It was about, winning these matches and getting that 12 mil to his bank. Where does that mindset shift? Does it shift from like taking a loss and being okay with the loss and then just going down this super like low self-esteem state of mind and just staying there and embracing that? Or does it just is it just a mental block?
That's exactly that's exactly what happened. So the guy thought he was God. Essentially, he got a messianic complex because he was actually phenomenal at tennis. I think the highest he was ranked at one time was like number 8 in the world. He was very good, and he still is. Like I said, he could kill anybody any day he really wanted to. But the point is that once he had that God complex, something in life interfered with that feedback loop and took him down a peg, and he's never been able to recover, and he's in a vicious spiral downward now. And now he wants to go downward. He wants to flush himself down the toilet as far as he can possibly fucking go so that he can reinvent himself. That's what, because look, men do not know how to fix singular problems in their life. This is one of the strangest thing about a man, right? If like a man will be in a nasty relationship with a woman, and men have an inability to go and just patch up the one thing in their life that's wrong. Like a man will sit there and see that there's one thing wrong in his life that's totally plaguing him. And rather than just fixing the one problem, men usually go for the chemo route, which is to apply vast radiation and kill every fucking cell in the organism so they can just restart everything. Like you rarely see a man, you'll see some high level men be able to do this, but very rare. Let's talk about the common man. Common man cannot eject himself out of a bad relationship with a woman. He has to fuck up his job. He has to get fat. He has to fuck up his diet. He's got to go broke. He's got to fuck up like 100 other things before he has the balls to confront the fact that it was never about those things. It was about the fact that you're with a woman that you don't like. And then by proxy, he sabotages the relationship by letting everything go so that in the end, she's the one who left and he can say that he never gave up. But he did give up. He just didn't have the balls to leave. And that's what a lot of men do. A lot of men know right now on the show they're in terrible relationships that they should be leaving. And they are going to do everything in their power to purposely fuck it up so she's the one who calls the shots in the end. I had a very good tweet 2 years ago. I said, most men want everybody else to make the first move. Most men do not have the balls to quit a job that they hate. So what they'll do is they'll prolong the experience. They'll show up to the job every day for a year, and eventually they'll purposely get fired so they can blame their boss and say, "Up, I got fired," instead of leaving. Or my girl left me instead of me being the one to leave. Men simply do not want to make the first move. They want everybody to do it for them so that they have an excuse and they can blame the other person. It's a very sick, vicious cycle that permeates and pervades
Do you
modern
think
culture.
a guy like him can recover from that state and go back to a state of just being prosperous and feeling like God?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He wants to die. He's got a death wish. And I mean this sincerely. There's a movie you should all see called Lethal Weapon. And basically the predication of Lethal Weapon, the whole premise of the movie is built on the concept of the fact that this guy who's a police officer, his wife, I want to say she dies. She gets murdered or kills herself, one of the two. And this guy absolutely goes into a mental spiral. He literally emotionally is so devastated that he's suicidal 24 hours a day. And he channels the suicidal ideations into becoming a daring, bold, audacious cop. And he's able to subdue like assailants. He's able to do a bunch of shit and like solve issues that the ordinary people on the task force can't do because he's so bewildered and so overwhelmed and in so much pain over this heartbreak that he literally becomes God. He's like walking through walls. Like he's able to diffuse situations that are extremely fucking intense. He's a fucking psycho. He's a fucking maniac in the movie. But the whole thing is like he becomes this super cop because of this lingering pain in the back of his head. And like the Benoit Paire example, the tennis player, he ain't going down that road. This guy literally wants to destroy himself and whittle him down to a nub so that he can reinvent himself and find a new self-image because he doesn't know who he is anymore. He lost his identity.
So you can say that that's just a sign of decay. Like you're basically counting your days down once you're in that state of mind.
1000%. Wouldn't surprise me if that dude ultimately goes on a bender and blows his 12 milli and is broke. And you see him like fucking being like a valet service, wearing a little fucking tuxedo and a little bow tie. Like these guys have really wild swings. And honestly, a guy like that who loses his identity probably would be more at peace. Like they all talk about it. Mike Tyson does. Like Mike Tyson blew through $500 million. Mike Tyson literally burned $500 million, was broke, and then was feeding pigeons in a cage all day. Like going back to his primal source and primal roots and literally just like feeding animals and goofing off and fucking around, broke as fuck. And was happy. He was happier when he was feeding pigeons than he was boxing. That's fucking
Crazy.
crazy. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. That was good
Yep,
food for
thank you.
thought.